Hey guys, in this video we're going to be building a file storage app with React and Firebase. Yes, we're going to be building it, so let's quickly get started. So yeah, you might want to go here to the React documentation, create a React app, but I don't recommend using create React app at all. I'm not a fan of create React app because it's very slow. I'm not a fan of it. So let's use Vite. Everybody is going to tell you to use Vite. Vite is just simply amazing, bro. It's just simply amazing. Oh wow, their website has upgraded. So first of all, so to start up with Vite, we run this command. Okay, so let's copy that, come to Visual Studio Code. I'm in my folder that I wish. So I'm going to open up the terminal with Control backticks. Okay, our terminal is loading, so give our terminal some time. Okay, now it has loaded, so Ctrl Shift V to paste, hit enter. It's going to ask us if we want to produce it. Yes. Then it's going to ask us project name. I'm just going to click dots. That signifies the current directory. Package name. So it says us to pick a framework that we want to do this in. I want to do this in React. It says JavaScript or TypeScript. I'm not really. Okay, I'm going to do JavaScript. So let's just run npm i9. So I'm just going to pause the video and I'm going to come back later because it takes some time. Okay, so now I am back after going to go and drink some water. And maybe you should go get water too. Okay, so now that we've gotten here, let's run npm start. So I think it's npm run dev. Normally in React I think it's npm start, but in Vite is npm run dev, and it's super fast. By now it will still be starting in React and to be showing what kind of blue stuff. Okay, let's click on the link for it to open, and we see our template React app. So okay, we see, wow, this is nice. See, our account is increasing. Yeah, that's super basic. So our goal is to build a storage application with Firebase and React. So first of all, we don't need all this boilerplate, so let's quickly go and clean up this because this is dirt actually. So we don't want to delete the class name of app because that would be, so we'll say storage application. Save that. Instant hot module reload. Now you're gonna love it. If this is your first time using it, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, bro. So app.css. I don't think we need this. We don't need this too. Save. We can remove the Vite and React logo. Okay, so this is what we need. Okay, we are still getting styles, but I don't know where we're getting out those styles from. I think it's from the index or CSS. So we can delete this as well. Okay. Save. We get some boilerplate and we have that background color. I don't actually have any problem with the background color really. If you feel that you don't like it, you just want to just go generically, you could remove it. But I think the background and the texting, it looks cool. So that's my own evaluation of that. So we want to build a storage application. So the next thing that we want to do now is to get started with Firebase. Let's hook up Firebase to our basic React application. So let's come here and let's go to Firebase of google.com. So Firebase is a backend of Google as a service. Make sure you have a Google account. Make sure you are signed in. The signing process is super easy. So when you have signed in, because you are watching this video on YouTube, so you must have a Google account, unless you're just watching this video without being not signed to YouTube, which is super weird. So let's click on go to console. And as for if you are totally new here, again, you might have to create a Firebase project. Creating a Firebase project is as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you just click on add project, you give it a project name. You can see it says step 1 out of 3. You give it a project name, for example, blah 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 blah, JJJ. You click on continue. You might want to disable this or enable this. It doesn't actually make sense. Then boom, you have a new project. You know what, let's make a new project. So let's just call this Firebase Storage. Firebase Storage. Okay, continue. We can enable or disable this, but this is not going to be of any help to us, but let's just leave it. So it says default account for Firebase, click project. So now it's going to create our Firebase project. This is not like the Vite application. It's not going to take forever. Oh, what did it say? Fail? Why did it fail? Okay, it's not because of internet. Let's check it again. Fire React. Okay, click on default account for Firebase. So please create this time, please. I think I'd pause this video, but I don't think it's supposed to take that long. So in the next videos, this is just a series where I'm just combining Firebase and React. In the next video, we're going to be using Firebase database, and that video we're going to be using Tailwind CSS. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Make sure you subscribe, because why not? Continue. Okay, now we have created our Firebase project, and you know how to create a Firebase project. So anytime you need to create a Firebase project, I'm going to direct you to this video. So it says get started. So though I've created a Firebase, we can add it to multiple platforms. We could add it to Android, iOS, whatever, but I'm going to add this to the web because we are on the web, right? So our web app should be React Fire. You could set up hosting. Maybe let's just set up hosting. There's no harm in anything. So it's going to tell us to add the Firebase SDK. We could use a script tag, or we could just use npm, but I prefer to use npm. Npm is like, I think it's easier to use npm, or it's better. It's like a best practice. Nobody uses script tags. It says if you don't use build tools, but we do use build tools. So we're going to copy and install Firebase. Firebase is a massive library. So I'm going to call the server npm. Then I'm going to be back. Okay, so I have after coming back, Firebase has installed. So this Firebase is a big library. It has testing, performance, analytics, every single thing in one service out of like a lot. So it might not install on the first try, so try and make it to try again. This 5 minutes might probably be like, I think it took more than this because I went to go and eat and come back to the video. So now that I've installed Firebase, and what I like to do in the source file, I want to make a new file. So Firebase.js. And what we're going to do is we're going to paste our config here. Okay, we're going to import Firebase. Okay, so let's just copy this and come here. So we're going to remove this. We don't need this. We don't need get analytics actually. Okay, we don't need get analytics, but we do need an initialize app. So in get analytics, we want to change it to get storage. Firebase analysis as get storage. Just making sure this is correctly spelled. Okay, we're gonna paste this here. Storage. So that's how essentially how you access this Firebase, and notice that this is Firebase version 9, where we have our Firebase config. This is our API key. This is the app, and for us to access any of the service, if you wanted to use the database, this would be get firestore of this. But because we're using storage, import storage, get storage of app. We want to export this. Export. So I'll run the npm run dev command again. So let's just click on next. We don't need to do this. We're not hosting this right immediately. So go to console. You see our React file right there. So now we click on the storage. Okay, let's set up our storage. So get started. You can start this in production mode where it's going to lock everything and not allow data to read, but I like to start in test mode because now we can read from the database. I might have a video where I teach on security rules later on. So for now, let's just start in test mode. There's basically going to be no difference. There's not going to be any guarantee. It's going to lock this, and we don't want this to be locked. Okay. So click on next. Server location. I'm going to leave this at the US Central. Maybe you can click somewhere else. I don't recommend changing this at all because it says warning, it cannot be changed. So I just leave it at the default. So now that is going to be creating our database. While that is creating our database, we will come here and start building our UI. So save this. We have our Firebase.js. Notice it's not JSX, it is JS. Okay. So what do we want to do essentially? Well, we don't need this use state. So what we want to do is I want to have one kind of file. Input type file. I want to have one kind of file that when this file is I want to have one kind of file to extract the user file, but we also want to have one kind of button. Submit. So to track this file, we're going to give this an unchanged, right? Unchanged. Then I'm going to set this. We want to set this to a state. So give me a second. So we're going to set this to a state. So we're going to say constant file and set file. Remember, this is just a convention that we use, that everybody use, because it makes it so declarative. We want this to be empty. Then what we want to do here in this unchanged is that we want to run an anonymous function. We want to say set file event.target.files of 0. So we want to add an on-click handler to this button. So on-click handle submit. So constant handle submit is going to be equal to so I've defined the handle submit. I don't know why this is giving us this error, but I've defined our handle submit function, right? Okay. So what do we want to do? We'll just console log what we have in the files variable. So our Firebase storage has set up. We are done. So let's continue. So we choose a file. So I'm gonna go to my downloads. I'm gonna look for a random image like my last video. So I'm gonna click on submit. Then we're gonna look at the console, or we can even come here to Visual Studio Code. So you can see this as a file because this is a nice extension. The name of the extension is called Console Ninja, so that's like a free tip there. So maybe you might consider subscribing because of that tip. This is called Console Ninja. We can also see this in the console here. Okay, you can see the file here, and this is exactly what we want. This is exactly what we want to give to Firebase. So to actually upload it, let's go to the docs so that we just check some references as a referencing point. And I promise to explain every single line of code. So I know first of all that we're going to need to import this guy. So we're going to say import app and storage from /Firebase. And so it knows how to check for it. It's not stupid. Okay. So we already have these two variables, app and storage. Since we already initialized storage using the app, we will not. Okay, sorry. Let me come back to it. We will not need the storage variable. We will not need the storage variable. We will not need the app variable because we already initialized it. We already initialized the storage. So let's come to the storage section. Click on that web. I know the docs can be a little bit scary, but promise I'm here with you. It's not gonna be scary. You see, it says get a root reference. We've already done this and we've passed in that app into it. Okay. So what we have to do is that we have to create a reference. I'm gonna copy this step by step. We don't need this or this because we've already done that. So we're not going to create a reference to mountain.js. We're going to create a reference to our file. So apparently my storage, I did not name it properly, so I'm going to adjust the name. Storage. So that's good. That's going to make that reference. So the next thing that we need to do, we're not going to use upload bytes. We can use upload bytes too, but a better option is to use upload bytes resumable, because it can be paused, played, cancelled, whatever. So we're gonna take it like this, copy, then we're gonna paste it, save. So we have the upload tags and we're gonna upload this. So let's change it to storage ref, copy, save. Okay, let's format this properly. I don't know what's wrong with Pretty How to format this better. Okay, so what's happening here is that we are setting the file to this. We are tracking it using this variable. We have considered already before. And we're taking the storage ref. This is a reference to our storage bucket, which we have initialized there, and using the file, which is there. And if you wanted this to be inside a folder of images, you just do /images, then the file like that. But we can just leave this like this. We don't have to put it into any folder. You normally do it like this, so let me just show you how to do it in case you might want a folder. Then you now do the structure, put the file inside here. So this is how you do it in case you wanted it to be inside a folder, but I don't want it to be inside a folder. Then we're not using upload bytes from resumable, the storage reference, and the file. But if the file is inside the storage reference, why do we still need the file again? Well, we as Firebase for you. this upload task, we're saving it to a variable because we can pause play it however we want. So let's come here and let's see if our little application works. So it says that we have the requested does not provide an export get storage. Oh, I guess that is also spelled wrongly as well. Should be storage. I don't know why we spell storage wrongly. So let's save this, refresh. So let's choose our file. Let's choose that this is an image generated by DALL-E. Let's submit it. It says ref is not defined. What is happening again? Ref is not defined. Oh yeah, we should import ref. So ref is a function that is used from Firebase storage, and we should also import upload task resumable as well. So these are not part of there are functions that help us from the Firebase storage folder or library. There are functions that help us, so we should import them. So let's see if it works now. Submit. Child path dot split is not a function. This is weird. Child path. Let's look at the docs for a second. Okay. Apparently, I do think that we might have to put it into a folder kind of this, because all the references here, we put it inside a folder. So let's try putting it into a folder. So images, it could be anything, by the way. Then file. So save. So certainly now it should work, right? Why is it giving us the post error that says name not resolved? Let's refresh here and let's see if we see. Okay, this one is an internet problem. So I'm gonna get back online in a second. So okay, that works. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so let's try it again. So this time we do not see any errors, and if we come here, we do not see any errors. Let's refresh it again. And see, it created our images folder, and we see our file, which is that image generated by DALL-E. The reason why you see object file is because inside here we are putting this as file, or it ought to be file.name actually, which is the name of the file. Okay, that should upload it with the name the next time. So what we want to do now is that we want to listen to this event, because this files an event, so that is in need of saving it to the variable. Is run a function for this upload task that is going to allow us to get the download URL. Now that we know that it's kind of working, so you might see some new code here, and I'll explain them in a second. So that's not what we're looking for right now. Upload task on state changed. What do we want to do? We want to run 3 functions. The first functions, and these have to be arrow functions. The first function is going to have the snapshot variable. So it's going to have the snapshot variable. And what do we want to do? We want to derive the progress by saying constant progress is going to be equal to snapshot dot bytes transferred divided by snapshot dot total bytes times 100. It should get us the progress. And when I say set progress, and set pro is a variable that I've set to hold the progress. You can see it's currently defaultly at 0. Okay, then we put a comma. Then we have the error in case there was an error. So console.error, let's just make it fun. instead of normal boring console.log. So finally, the last function. So in the last function, what do we want to do essentially? We want this to be an async function. So we can use the await keyword. So const file is going to be equal to await get download URL. So get download URL is imported right over here, and it's a function that allows us to get the download URL. What it says is get download URL snapshot dot, what is it again? I think it's snapshot dot let's check the docs to be sure. I think it's okay. Yeah, it is upload tags or snapshot or ref. Sorry, upload tasks dot snapshot dot ref. So we just want to just console.log the file first. Then we want to say set URL file. So what we're doing here is that the URL is, this is the URL. This thing that is going to hold the URL is the state that is going to hold the URL. And what we're saying, we're conditionally saying if there's a URL, show an image with that, or else just show a paragraph of loading. Then we're giving the reason why we don't do that, the reason why we're doing this because by default the URL is empty. The progress bar is not empty by default, it's at 0. So let's continue. Let's just choose a file for, okay, I'm going to choose my previous video or the article I wrote. It says loading because that URL is not yet available. So submit. You see this starts from 0, now is slowly climbing up. It goes to 100%. We see our file, then we see the file right here. Okay, so this is how to use the Stroage API. By this, if you just add a couple of things, you might be able to build your own Google Drive from this small demo application. So that's it for watching. Thank you for watching. If you stayed up to the end, you're a legend, and I'll see you in the next video.